All right, ladies and gentlemen. We have another nice little back test that I took today when I was in school. So this was like 8 a.m. my time. Basically hopped on the charts, quickly checked what exactly happened. And this is a continuation of this like journal series that I'm gonna do. I want to do for myself mostly, but I'll just upload it to YouTube, for in case anyone decides they need it, or in case obviously this is also going to benefit me some in case some of you guys can help me with the whole ICC thing and market structure thing. And yeah, I hope I'm recording. I hope my mic is better because last time my mic was way too quiet. That's on me. I adjusted that now. So yeah, let's just get straight into this trade. I took this trade at 8 o'clock during my classes. I analyzed the structure because the teacher wasn't there, so I analyzed the structure. And then, yeah, caught this nice little move over here. If you see on the daily, this trade took a long time to play out, and there's a reason for that. And I'm going to go over why because I was trying to experiment with some stuff. But yeah, let's just get into the trade because or into the trade recap into this back test. Sorry, this isn't an actual trade by the way. This is obviously, as you can see, it's a back test. We're on Monday 17th of February 2025. We are on gold and we are still on traders casa. So yeah, let's go over this trade. So the first thing that I saw is on the daily, we had a nice little uptrend. We had, this nice little uptrend. Price was just doing its thing, and then suddenly price decided to, okay, it broke structure right here. And that was interesting to me because as we can see, it was on a really, really nice uptrend. There wasn't any like major pushes back down, and there wasn't a lot of red candles. Like you can see right here, there's a bunch of green candles, some red candles, but mostly green, and it's a really, really nice uptrend. And then we had this red candle, this very, very steep red candle right here, which okay, that's it could just be a pullback. So I didn't really ignore I kind of ignored that, and then I went ahead and skipped forward in my thing right here. And then we saw that, or then I saw that price broke below this protected low because we're on uptrend. We expect to break the structure to the top, so we expect to break the high, making it a unprotected or a weak high, and we have a protected low right here. I didn't really mark this very cleanly. This is supposed to be like right on the wick, probably around there. That's good, yeah. But it doesn't really matter because price completely broke through it right here with the even going here. So this indicated to me that okay, either we are going to go back into or we are going to go into a downtrend because this that most likely we're going to go into a downtrend because from what how price works is that price will I said this before in my other video in my first video, but price will move move in the market the way it wants to move. Wait, no, I phrased that kind of badly. I'm sorry, my brain is a bit fried. I just had my philosophy exam, which let's not talk about it. It wasn't the best thing I ever wrote, but whatever. I'm gonna stop. I'm going to try to stop getting sidetracked. But yeah, we have this market structure shift here, which I marked out. So we have this daily market structure shift. Don't get confused with all of these lines. I'll go into them later. But yeah, we have this daily high that this time, I'm not sure if I marked it out last time or yesterday, to be honest. But I marked out this daily high because I actually wanted to see if the trade would play back out into the daily high and then break structure here to continue the uptrend. But I didn't have time to do that. So I think that's something that we're going to check towards the end today. But yeah, anyway, price broke down here. I went to the 4 hour and I took a closer look at exactly what price was doing. And remember what I said from last episode that a pullback or a move to any direction is on a lower time or on a high time frame is a trend on a lower time frame. So as we can see, this pullback from the daily right here, this two candle pullback, I believe it, or well, after this break of structure, it wasn't really a pullback or not break of structure. That's one thing I said wrong in my other video that this right here, I call it a break of structure in the last video, even though it isn't. This is a change of character or a market structure shift. So we had that, and then we saw that price made the daily high. Okay, 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 and then it made this downtrend right here. And then I waited for price to, I was honestly, I was looking for some confirmation to kind of, excuse me, ride this downtrend down and take a short position, but then I actually didn't, and that was for multiple reasons. So we had this 4 hour break of structure down here, the last move that I saw right here, and it made this very, very long candle. Also, one thing I want to note is that this trade actually happened over the weekend, or this setup played out over the weekend right here, which is not something I should be doing if I remember correctly, like trading over the weekend when there's a bunch of volatility and where the markets aren't technically open is very risky, because say I put my entry somewhere here, and then the weekend happened, and then we moved from Friday to Monday. During that 2 day period, so much stuff could have happened. Price could have went all the way back up here again, like all the way back up here again, or went all the way down, and then it would have completely either blown my stop loss. And because price doesn't like, because it wouldn't have listened to the stop loss, I would have lost a lot more money than I would have actually done if I had my stop loss, because it wouldn't have respected the stop loss. Say like I had a short right or a long right here. Let's say I put a long over here, and then I put my stop loss down here. And then say price started again on Monday somewhere down here. I wouldn't have lost this amount of money. I would have lost this amount of money, which is something I actually only recently got told by one of the people I always ask questions with this whole thing, is that this happens and that they learned this the hard way. So obviously, let's not do that. But it also goes in the other in the other opposite direction. So we have um if that happens to the opposite direction and you have your take profit, say right here, but price ends up going up here, you're going to win the trade all the way up here, and then you're going to make more money. But it goes both ways. So that's definitely not a risk we want to take. It's not calculated. You always want to take calculated risks and obviously try to avoid risks. But yeah, I'm getting sidetracked again. We have this break of structure. We have this 4 hour high that I marked out. And then we had something interesting. We had a change of character, which was also my indication. So now if we go on to the 1 hour, here I marked this out. This is actually the gap in the weekend. So we had, this is what I'm talking about. Like over the weekend, price can just jump. So that's why we have this space right here. So yeah, anyway, we have this indication, right, or this change of character, which I also treated as an indication. So if we move this up a little bit more, and then I went down to my 15 to get a better look at everything. And yeah, it made this very, very big candle, which okay, that's cool, I guess, sure. And then it started its correction. Price went up, and now it's starting to go on a downtrend again. And then we're waiting for the change of character, which actually happened right here. And this indicated to me that price is now changing from from the correction into the continuation. And I could have entered up here, like I could have entered as soon as it broke out of this protected high, but I decided not to. I decided to wait. And honestly, I think I am able to take that risk there with just entering up here, but I wasn't really, looking to do that. So one sec. Yeah. So yeah, I just waited a little bit and then eventually entered here. I waited for a higher low to form to confirm that this was actually a change of character, and then to ride it back up, obviously. And then as soon as price broke or made this change of character, I was ready to enter. I waited for the higher low to form just to be sure. And then I basically entered. I'm pretty sure I entered here because that's just the last. I think price was like down here before I entered. So I just put my entry right here. We entered. And then what we targeted is the same as usual. I put my stop loss a bit below the lowest low of the correction. And I targeted a 2 to 1. But what was kind of different from this trade compared to the other trade that I took yesterday is that usually I always take the 4 hour high as an indication of if okay, this is a safe trade to take because if my 2-to-1 ratio is somewhere in that 4 hour range, to me that always signals that it's a good trade. And it actually was in this case. We saw a nice move up here. This would have finished the trade in like what, couple of hours, whereas this long trade didn't. So the only reason I took this really long trade is because I wanted to reach the 2 to RR ratio that I always use. But that was a it wasn't a mistake. It worked out in this time, but I don't think it's something that I'm going to keep on doing. I want to kind of keep targeting this 4 hour high because I'm comfortable with targeting that. The only problem is that had I targeted the 4 hour high, yes, my trade would have hit a lot quicker. So from 18 all the way to it would have taken 4 hours and 15 minutes, which is beautiful in my opinion. It's a very nice time, and that would have been the time where I was still awake as well. So that would have been very nice to go to sleep knowing that the trade hit. But then we only had a 1.05 RR, and that's just, I got a bit greedy, and to be honest, this I don't think it was only greed. I think it was more the fact that I kind of wanted to experiment if this 4 hour high thing is actually like true or not. So I just, yeah, as I said, I just experimented with it, got this little 2 RR, and then the trade took much longer to play out. So it would have taken 4 hours. I would have been out right here. Yes, after this big candle right here, over here, after it broke the 4 hour high, I would have been out. But then I decided to just try to ride it a bit longer to get my 2 RR, and I managed to actually hit it, which was very nice. And I'm kind of a bit on a kind of a bit um low on time right here because I actually have to go do something. But I just want to quickly see if this trade would have actually hit the daily high or not, and if that's something I can start experimenting with. And wow, okay, that is a ginormous move right there. Um, we see that okay, price is going down, it's consolidating, and it actually would have hit. That's kind of crazy. But to be honest, I don't think it hit because of this little setup right here. It probably hit because of this setup down here somewhere, because you can see price was kind of consolidating, not really doing anything, not really breaking much structure. So I don't think it was necessarily from this setup. It was probably from here, and that's more than luck based that it actually did end up hitting the daily high before taking out my stop loss. But yeah, that's pretty cool to know. And then obviously this trade would have been Monday, 3rd of March to this would have been a 10-day trade. There's like I'm never gonna do that. So I'm gonna avoid hitting the daily highs for now and just keep on doing my thing on the lower time frame with trades that last a couple of hours. But yeah, this was a very quick little trade recap that I wanted to do because I actually have to go do something right now. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. This is mainly for myself, obviously, but if you do end up seeing this, hope you learned something and please point out any mistakes I made. I'm still learning. I'm like a month, not even a full month into this now. So yeah,